Hello, my name's Dr. Ben Boffman. Today we're going to be talking with a panel of students that are applied intelligence students to learn about what their experiences were, what they would like to know if they were back in high school, so we can share what applied intelligence is and why Gannon is the special place to come and learn applied intelligence. Welcome, my name's Ben Boffman. I'm the director and associate professor over our applied intelligence program here at Gannon University. The program teaches students how to analyze complex information to turn it into actionable intelligence for decision makers, and that's across the fields of national security, law enforcement, and competitive intelligence. What is unique about our program is that we also teach geographical profiling and provide software that Scotland Yard uses on a regular basis that students leave with and go to wherever they're going to go with, and able to continue to use that software that has helped do all sorts of things, help identify where terrorists are based, along with finding serial violent offenders and where they're located at. The other thing that's unique about Gannon, in addition to what our students are going to be talking about today, is that we offer 2 degrees for the price of 1. No extra classes, no additional fees or anything like that, and you just have less free electives. So you focus on what degrees that you like. If you like biology, that's a good pair with applied intelligence, science, cyber. All of those are great. So we're going to go over to our students, and I'm going to ask them a few questions. So Jordan, let me put my reading glasses on. You're from Harbor Creek High School, right? Huskies?
Yeah.
Go Huskies. Great. What are some things that you were weighing out when you were trying to pick a university to go to?
So I knew that I really liked Gannon when touring Gannon. It was like, it felt like home in a sense, and like being on campus, you see the familiar faces. I would not like a big university myself because big universities kind of scare me. So I feel like that close niche, like knowing your professors is a thing that I wanted to do. So like being at Gannon, you get that. See, like I know you, it's like a one-on-one, but it's nice. And then I also like, when I read the applied intelligence in high school, like the course description, I wanted to go into marketing, but I additionally wanted something to make myself stand out, so applied intelligence was like perfect for that. So I could like do the marketing side of it, Intel, kind of.
And that's really interesting because as the students that are probably watching this have never heard of what intelligence is, I am surprised that you even found something to read. Was that a class that you took?
It was, I did forensic science in high school, so it was kind of similar, but not the exact same. I recommend going into Intel. Like, I just read the course description on Gannon's website because I was like, I know I want to go to Gannon, so I wanted to do marketing and add the Intel.
That's great. Very good. What are some things that you wish people had shared with you at that time while you were in high school you figured out Gannon's home, that's where I'm going to go, and then what?
I just wish people would have like came and talked to us more, like more formal like assemblies, like what Gannon has to offer. I mean, I know that we did like during the lunch hours, we'd have like people come talk to us at different universities, but they didn't really tell us anything. They just sat up with their like pamphlets and then they were like, here's what we offer, but they really didn't talk about the different possibilities and how many activities Gannon actually has on campus for our students.
Got it. So what you knew and what you found out about the intelligence community was on the website, and that's it.
Yeah.
Got it. What are some things that may influence you to? What are some things that may have influenced you to pursue a career in applied intelligence? So to harness that minor of applied intelligence with your marketing degree.
Like I said before, like just to make myself stand out. But I really like being able to know how to use Excel more. Before this class, did not know how to use Excel. It just, like right now in class, we're currently working on like burglaries, and we're just coming to conclusions based upon like certain things that are like the same about them, like the spatial aspects, the time aspects. I just like to do that. I think it's fun.
It is fun, yeah, and I'm a little biased as well. Yeah. That's great. Mia, McDowell High School.
Yes.
Okay, what's the Is McDowell High School Trojans? Okay, great. So what are some things that you were weighing out when you were picking a university?
I knew I wanted to stay local, and I was deciding about like commute time, financials, and also what each college had versus what like other ones didn't. I originally started out as criminal justice, and I knew I wanted something that would help me stand out so I could specialize like on my resume. So I knew I wanted to either double major or double minor.
Great, yeah, and it's still hard to find universities that offer a double major. But with the prices of education, it definitely, that helps. Good, so what drew you to the Applied Intelligence program here at Gannon then?
So like I said, I went in as just criminal justice seeking for something to add on. And during our first week, we got some programs together, and criminal justice and applied intelligence were grouped together, and I had never heard of intelligence. And then later that day, I had found Dr. Musa Tuzerner walking around, and he had been in the room. So I went and spoke with him, and we went from there to get me added onto the program.
Yeah, and it's one of those fields that by its nature is secretive, right? So when you learned about applied intelligence and the secretive component, what would be some ways to reach across and teach people about what this is, or to summarize it?
To summarize intel, it's kind of just doing research and then taking all of that research that are just facts and then turning it into a finding, so being able to explain it and pair it together.
I love that. See, I've always thought of it as providing insightful, actionable information, but I love it. I'm gonna have to take that. So what are some things that you wish people had shared about you, about applied intelligence, the intelligence community, while you were in high school?
I wish that in high school, maybe some colleges would have come to my school to talk more about what specialties were offered rather than the basics, like just biology, I'm gonna be a doctor, like the sciences and criminal justice. They hadn't spoken about specifics, like specific routes. So I wish that I had known more about specific routes to take.
Yeah, and that's great, very good. And you can always leverage the skill set. We do use Excel and Microsoft Suite because no matter where you work, you're gonna have access to that. And then on top of that, once you learn that structured analytical technique that we're all learning and doing in the classroom, then you can leverage new tools that are out, like artificial intelligence and other softwares that are out there that I think all three of you have utilized proprietary versions of that for contract work. So what are some things that may have influenced you to pursue a career in applied intelligence beyond Dr. Tuzerner, which he was extremely influential and a fantastic person, but also, he worked in the field for many years and had been teaching this with us for a long time as well.
I've always enjoyed a good mystery per se, being able to like kind of pair things together. My brain is always thinking and working. It's hard to shut it off, so being able to just keep on thinking is what I enjoyed. Okay. And then kind of working on the mystery, secretive side of it.
Solving puzzles, I do. I love that. Awesome. Kaylee, you are from Gerard? Girard. Okay, sorry. Girard High School. Where is that at? Because as you can tell from my accent, I am not from here.
So Girard High School's in Girard, PA. So just in Girard. Yep, just pretty basic. Yep.
So when you were weighing out which university to go to, because I know you're a little different from our other two panelists. What were some things that you would have liked to know in high school, and then share your journey with us?
So I actually wasn't weighing out universities. I didn't want to go to college. I thought there was nothing that kind of suited what I wanted to do or what I was particularly interested in. So I didn't want to go in and waste my money before, deciding what I actually wanted to do. So I took a year off and I was working, and then I decided to go to community college just to gain some credits, just to start to further my education, and that was in business. So I was really interested in business because I feel like that's kind of an umbrella, you can do a lot with it. And then I was at work one day and Brad, my boss, came in and he was like, I really like how you function at work. I think you have the skills needed to be an applied intelligence student. And I was like, okay, like what do I do with a business card and that kind of information, you know? So I talked to my mom, and my uncle works here too, and we kind of discussed it, and we're like, I think you should look into it more. And then we met with you and Brad and my mom on a Teams call. And I'd never heard of applied intelligence before. It's still kind of hard to explain it. So when you guys were talking about it on the call, it was like, there's so much. Like, so the umbrella term that I was thinking with business is like, it's the same with applied intelligence. You can do so much with this degree. So.
Yeah, and I think you hit the heart of what a lot of high school students struggle with about why put that much investment of time and money into a university when there's not a tangible return. And with applied intelligence paired with the degrees that everybody knows about, but tends to be theoretically focused, and you do learn a lot with it, but to bridge that gap of how do you apply that stuff, there's not a whole lot of programs out there. So the applied intelligence spoke to you in a way that, hey, this will help me bridge that gap of making this degree in business that I know is a good degree. It's going to look good on paper, but I can not only talk about it, but I can say, here, I can do it, and I have stuff I can show them that I've done. Very neat. So what are some things that you wish people had shared about the intelligence community with you before Brad Gleason approached you while you were working, and I think you were working at Voodoo at the time as a bartender. Yeah. So
just knowing about it, I guess, because I mean, in history, you know, like they'll touch on like cases and the agencies and federal government and stuff like that, but also just mentioning like, hey, you know, like you can get a career in this. It's not just they secretly pick you out and are like, come work for us, you know? Like I never knew that was an option. And I don't know if you guys took like those tests where they like give you like answer questions and it's like, this is where you're most fit. I had like detective and like police officer on mine. And I didn't want to be a cop. I knew I didn't want to be a cop, but I didn't know what to do with, you know, what the questionnaire was saying, because it's like, oh, you could work for the government as an analyst. Like that wasn't an option. That would have been nice to see that, because that's a great option for work when you don't want to be like on the field.
Right, and that's a great point. So you're touching on TV shows like Criminal Minds, which is a real FBI unit called VICAP. And the writers and producers go there all the time to get inspiration for the show. And then, of course, they take artistic license. Like, there's no jet. They don't have their own jet. But they're not police officers. Most of them are not sworn carrying a gun, but they're helping solve crimes in real time. Great. So what are some things that influenced you to pursue this career in applied intelligence? When you had the discussions with us and you started to weigh out, do I go back to school and do I do this? What were some things that influenced you to do it?
At the time, I was really interested in psychology. Like, I'm really interested in how criminals' minds work, but taking on like being a therapist or being like a direct therapist for like a criminal counselor or something like that I knew that would be too much of a burden to bear, like being one-on-one with the person and meeting with them. But I'm really good at reading people and seeing how they work, and I think applying that in a career would have been really interesting. So when you were telling me in the meeting that, you know, you can do this as like a job, I was like, oh, okay. So that like really interested me, because I was gonna come here. Like I took a class junior year it was a psychology class through my high school where I was just like doing a dual major with Gannon, and I was like, wow, this teacher's like amazing. I just want to be here. But it's a private university, and like there were financial hurdles that I had to go over with that first, but I really like being able to look at a criminal mind and like why they're committing these crimes and stuff like that. So that's what drew me the most, knowing that I would be able to get a career in a field like that.
Yeah, and most people don't know about it. Our guidance counselors in schools, there's a lot that don't know that this is actually a thing. And I didn't know it was a thing. As you all know, I'm not a traditional student. I went back to learn investigative psychology in the United Kingdom for my master's and PhD, and lived over there to learn an applied psychology, which I same thing, like clinical psychology is huge. People hear forensic psychology and they're like, that's what I want to do. I want to study a criminal mind. Well, forensic psychology in America, as you found out in your research, is you go into prisons and you talk to them and try to help them or diagnose them with symptoms of whatever it is that they're struggling with. But the applied component, we call it here applied intelligence, but people just don't know about it. And it is interesting. So what would you like to share about the academic side of the program here at Gannon?
I feel like my biggest concern when I was in high school was basically, am I gonna get a bang for my buck? Like, am I actually gonna come out with more information and like being able to apply this to a career, or am I just gonna come out feeling like I went to high school again and like nothing really stuck with me? This program is so like hands-on. You learn so much and there's so much packed into it. It's just all the information you're learning is so actionable, and like being able to apply it to the jobs that I have now, or knowing that when I find my career or when I find my job outside of university, that I will feel confident in my skills based on what we've been doing in class. That's the biggest part for me, is like I feel like I could go out now and do a job if I needed to. Like I don't feel like scared of my graduation date and feeling like I'm still just gonna be thrown out into the world.
Yeah, no, that's great, because it's all project-based. We learn what the theory is behind it, we talk about it, and then we start doing it. And that takes it from that short-term memory of regurgitating on a test and then going to the next one and control, delete, get rid of that stuff, to putting it into your long-term potential so you can recall what you've done because you've done it. So it sticks with you. Very, very neat. So what would you like to share about the applied work that you've been doing, the opportunities that we have here at Gannon outside of the classroom that's related to applied intelligence?
Yes, so I have 2 contracts through Gannon. One is with the Beehive, and then one is just a separate contract where I work with a undisclosed client. The Beehive is really nice because I'm writing reports for my clients, and the reports are nice and structured. So what we're learning in class on how to write a report for a decision maker really plays into how we write reports in the Beehive. Brad's really serious about how the reports are and what the client's getting, but we're doing a lot of like industry analysis. So we're helping a lot of small businesses, which I think is really cool. It's really like nice to see that side of Erie, people who have these big ideas that want to come in and do big things, but they just don't know where to start. And it's really nice to start with a free service, Right. So we just me and Mia both do it, and it's just industry research, and then we write that up in a report and we can brief our clients. And I think it's really nice being able to do that, one, for me to get that experience, but also being able to brief my client and send them off with actionable information that they can utilize.
Yeah, and it is. That is interesting because it's so overwhelming. My dad he started a small business after teaching 19 years biology and grew it into a large business, but he didn't have that support. So to have that support that we have here in Erie is amazing. Totally lost my train of thought of the next follow-up question, which I know is so unusual. So let me go to Jordan. So what would you like to share about the academic side of applied intelligence?
So the academic side of applied intelligence, there's so many different things that you can do with it. Like going from high school, I was like Kaylee said, I was like, I'm scared. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna get good grades. I've always been like a student who would study, and like, I like how you formulate like the lessons and stuff, because we're actually learning something. Like I'm not taking tests. I'm more applying like the programs like Excel and like Word, and I'm actually doing the hands-on things. I love it so much. But
yeah, no, thank you. Because we're teaching structured analytical techniques to reduce our human fallible aspects, right? So it's back to psychology, that we can have groupthink, we can have cognitive bias, we can have all these different things. But what we teach is a structured analytical technique, which would be really boring just to take a test on it. Yeah. Really boring. So we teach a technique, and then we utilize a platform that you're gonna have no matter where you go hopefully additional tools that make it a little less tedious. But nonetheless, it helps you go through that structured analytical technique that you learned, which is a heck of a lot better than taking a multiple choice test.
Oh yeah, and then you won't recall all of what you took a test on as well.
That's true. And so the contract work that Kaylee was talking about speaks to applied intelligence and why most people don't know about it, right? Because it is secretive. And intel by its nature is secretive. It's about, in competitive intelligence, it's about being competitive, staying in business, one, but two, being able to see around the corner and identify threats and opportunities. So what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? All of those components. So without disclosing contracts that you've worked on, are you able to talk about what you did outside of the classroom then?
So I was on two contracts over the summer, and I just recently had one of my contracts end. I honestly would recommend it to anyone who has the opportunity to take contract work. I think it's a very good tool to have, and you use so many different cutting edge technologies in your work. She did say that, and we can disclose this. But I learned so many different tools and how to formulate what we want, the bluff, the bottom line up front, giving your client what they need to disclose to their clients. It's very important, and I'm glad that I got to be a part of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good to hear, because we do, and it's odd to learn how to write that way, because the way you go through the process and you start writing it, it's like writing backwards. You end up writing all the information, and then the last thing you write is that bottom line up front. It's what's the most relevant and interesting and need to know information for that decision maker related to that problem. Very good. Mia, what would you like to share about our applied intelligence academic side of it? What is it like taking applied intelligence here at Gannon?
So it's very hands-on work that you do. You're supplied what you need, the different programs and forms that you can use, the structured methods, that's what I'm looking for. You provide the outline, so you kind of just have to fill it in, do your research, but if you have any questions, you can easily work with someone. Right now in class, we're doing the crime series matrix, and Kaylee and I will kind of work together, see what evidence that we both have for our cases and what conclusions that we can make out of that. So I enjoy being able to easily just ask the person next to me what they're doing and work with them.
That's good. And I understand you also have a mentor outside of the classroom. Has that been useful for you?
Yes, her name's Lauren. We just met on Tuesday, actually. Okay. She's really nice. She describes what she does working in the intelligence world. She's on the business side of things. So we'll talk about that, any conferences she's attended, and just the work that I do, how I'm building my work and my resume, and how I'm just switching around, and we just talk all about that, and any meetings too she has within Intel to help build this mentorship program. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. So, as you know, because you've also worked outside of the project stuff that's classwork, which we'll go there in a second, you also have working professionals that you can reach out to that are in the field currently and say, hey, we're doing this in class, and they've gone through our course, right? So they can go, oh, don't worry about it. I know it's intimidating, and it is, but we teach you how to chunk away at it. But it's nice to hear somebody that's out there working with the real information right now, deadlines, everything else, that can give you that support as well. So that those work opportunities, how have you found them related to Intel and Gannon?
I have found them, so the other day in intro, since I'm just taking it now, since I joined the program a semester late, when you were talking about the SWOT analysis, I was like, I already know what that is. Because I'm a part of the Gannon Beehive with Kaylee as well, and the separate student analyst contract that we have. Yeah. And I find it enjoyable being able to pick out, again, I enjoy research, being able to pick out the information and bringing it together to form the conclusions and finding the important bits that we need to present to our clients, or that's going to be sent off to our clients.
Yeah, very good, very good. So Sticking with you, your transition from high school, from McDowell to Gannon, how did you find that transition? What was it like making new friends, the finance side? Like, what was your experience like, and do you have some advice?
It was definitely rough, just the mentality and having, because my friends that I had in high school, I've been friends with them pretty much since elementary, so it was weird going from that transition of knowing everybody in my classrooms to, oh no, I don't know anybody, because my friends that did come to Gannon, they went into different programs that aren't related at all. And I eventually just started talking to the people that are in my classes. Kaylee and I met because we discovered we had the same jobs and that we were in the same program, so we just exchanged contact info and just became friends from there.
And she's a bartender, so, you know, when you're 21. I am. Okay. So making new friends, it was intimidating, but it wasn't hard.
For me, it was a little hard and scary, but once I found my people, that's when I was able to settle.
So I guess outside the classroom, what would be some ways or some suggestions that you would have for incoming students of, hey, these are some good ways outside of the classroom to meet people here at Gannon?
There are plenty of clubs and organizations available within Gannon's campus, along with fraternities and sororities. And I know Jordan can speak more on that side. Yeah, I didn't get involved with anything because I just found I have a busy schedule, and when I have my free time, I do like to be at home, do homework, and I became an aunt almost a year ago, so I enjoy being able to spend my time with her.
So last question for you for now. All three of you are rock stars, and you turn in amazing products. Being frustrated initially at times, right?
Yes.
How do you get to that point? What advice would you give people that are coming into college that have really hard courses or challenging courses? What do you have a secret recipe that you could share?
Find like a group or a person that you can talk to, or even reach out to your professors, because you're always very helpful whenever we have any kind of question. You're always responsive. I just say, and then I always ask for examples. I like being able to see a previous example to go off of, and then I'll contact another student. So Kaylee and I usually end up working together on most things.
Yeah, great. So what do you think? But did you want to speak to the fraternity thing, Jordan?
Oh, no, you're good. Sure. So I also commute. It's tough. I understand. I live 15 minutes. I really don't want to spend the money to live on campus. So I wanted to get more involved on campus, so I joined Alpha Sigma Tau. It's a sorority. We do a lot of service-based like opportunities. So we're always doing something like highway cleanup. We'll clean up our highway that we have, like, it's on 89 or something like 90. I'm trying to think. But yeah, it's one of the highways. Yeah. Yeah, and then we do like a bunch of like sisterhood activities. Like this Saturday, we're all going as a group. We're going to Port Farms, so we're gonna go through like the corn mazes. It's gonna be fun. But we do different like things, and it's a great way to meet new people. And if you're scared to meet friends, I mean, I'm a gabber, so like it wasn't that hard for me to meet people. So I was talking to people in my classes, but then I joined on campus because I was like, this is perfect for me. So like if you're thinking about joining a sorority, just go through the process. You don't have to join necessarily, just see if you like it. That's my advice.
And that's great advice. And what you touch on, people tend to think of, if they know about intelligence, that everybody's an introvert and they just want to solve the problem, and they'll like collectively work together, but reluctantly. But we have a range of personalities. Now, part of the program that all three of you have experienced to some extent so far, and it's going to be a little bit more as we go, where you have to present things in front of people. How is that for you?
I mean, I'm not terrible with talking in front of people. I don't stutter too much, but I like to think I don't, but who knows. But I really like how I took public speaking this semester. It's helped a lot of my speaking skills, and I'm glad I did it. But it's not intimidating because it's like people you know. Like Gannon's such a small campus. If I went to like Penn State, Maine, I'd be like, no, I couldn't do that. Like class sizes of like 300 kids, that's not for me. But like speaking in front of like 30, I'm okay with it.
Kaylee, your transition from working and having that break between high school, some community college, to Gannon, how has that been for you, and what advice would you share?
Well, I was doing the community college courses, which was kind of just getting my prereqs out of the way because I didn't want to have to pay for those. But when I came to Gannon, your first year, no matter like if you're coming in with prereqs or not, you're still getting the intro to your courses anyways. So like at least your first semester, you'll know that you'll just be eased into like, this is what your schedule's gonna look like, this is how it's gonna feel. You're getting used to your study patterns again and everything. So after the first semester, I was like, okay, like university is not as scary as it seems, you know, especially with all your intro and like your philosophy and history courses and writing and everything. It feels very similar to like, I don't know, my junior year of high school was my hardest. So it felt a lot like my junior year of high school. Learning and expanding your bandwidth to be able to take on more things without getting stressed out. So after your first year, you'll be fine. You'll ease right in.
Because it is a bit different. Like even if you just came straight from high school where you're in the classroom to classroom to classroom, now you've got a lot of what looks like free time. Mm-hmm. What is that like? Well, what advice would you have for students that come in and they're like, well, I only have classes Monday, Wednesday, Friday?
Well, I only have classes Monday, Wednesday. With both of my jobs and schoolwork, my Tuesday, Thursdays are mainly my work days. Yeah. I really take those days and hunker down at home because it's nice because the jobs that I do for Gannon right now are remote. So I'm either going to school or I'm at home working on my computer. So it's nice to just, you know, be home with my cat and do my homework and get my assignments done, then come to school the next day and, you know, be done at 2:30 and then I'm like, that's it for today, you know.
It sounds like you're getting paid.
I am getting paid.
To do work in applied intelligence remotely.
Yes.
That's got to be miserable.
I love it. I love remote work. I love it.
Great, thank you for joining us. We're learning about providing actionable insight, and our students did a great job explaining applied intelligence. I hope you join us here at Gannon. If you have any questions, please reach out to me, Dr. Ben Boffman. You can find us on the website, or you can get me at Boffman, B-A-U-G-H-M-A-N, 053 @gannon.edu, which is probably on your screen right now.